Picking the right MacBook is now harder than ever. Too many models, too many configurations, easy to get lost. But don't you worry, right now I'm gonna go over all M2 powered MacBooks and name just one MacBook that you should buy in 2023. Before we actually look at MacBooks, let's quickly clarify one thing. I'm focusing only on the M2 powered MacBooks. The M1 MacBook Air is out of the equation simply because for its price it doesn't give all that much. All design, 3-year-old chip, and quite a steep price tag. Also, I'm not gonna talk about the 2021 MacBook Pro lineup. Despite my deep love for that generation of MacBooks, there's just been too much said about their excellence. 2021 MacBook Pros are great, and that's a fact, but we are gonna focus on the MacBooks with M2 series chips. This generation of products may be controversial, but that doesn't mean the MacBooks are bad. So, which M2 MacBook should you buy? First, contestant, 13-inch M2 MacBook Air. This laptop was the first one to introduce the M2 chip. Base model comes with 8-core CPU and 8 GPU, 8 gigs of unified memory, and 256 gigs of SSD. For the price of $1099, you get a fantastic little device. It looks great with its sleek design and flat sides with rounded edges. It's super lightweight, weighing only 2.7 pounds, which makes it super portable and easy to carry around. I absolutely love how it's designed, a very precise look and feel, if you ask me. This MacBook comes with a 13.6-inch liquid retina display that goes up to 500 nits of peak brightness, supports P3, and unfortunately lacks ProMotion. The refresh rate is fixed at 60 Hz, but it's not a huge deal if you ask me. The quality of the display and its color accuracy easily make up for the standard refresh rate, and most people won't have any problems with this laptop's display. Also, most people won't have any problems with the port selection. It comes with 2 Thunderbolt 3 USB Type-C, 1 headphone jack, and a MagSafe charging port. For most people, that's enough. And if not, a small dongle fixes that easily. But that's where the good things stop. This laptop has 2 huge problems: memory and cooling. This MacBook Air is passively cooled, and the M2 chip is hotter than the M1. This combo gives a poor thermal performance, which is usually visible when throttling. It throttles a lot under load, and that second memory issue, it's actually 2 issues. One, 8 gigs of unified memory is not nearly enough for even basic stuff in 2023. The memory fills up fast, forcing the system to use swap memory, but that's where the second problem hits hard. The base SSD is super slow. This completely negates the effectiveness of swap, leaving you with a hot and slow laptop you bought for $1,100. Maybe this MacBook is not the best option. What do you think? Alright, second contestant, 15-inch MacBook Air. This MacBook is very similar to the 13-inch model, but has a few important differences. First, it's noticeably bigger, and this size impacts everything. The display is larger, yet retains all the good things like high brightness and perfect color accuracy straight out of the box. The larger footprint allows for a better speaker system, 6 speakers in total instead of 4 on the smaller model, and a bigger trackpad, making using gestures even more comfortable. Also, this larger body helps a bit with heat dissipation, resulting in slightly less aggressive thermal throttling. Yet I must say, these empty areas on both sides of the keyboard to me simply look weird. But what about the downsides of the 15-inch model? Are they fixed here? Well, not really. The 15-inch model comes with the unbent M2 chip that has 8 CPU cores and 10 GPU cores. The amount of unified memory and disk space is the same as on 13-inch. This translates to this MacBook suffering from exactly the same issues. The memory fills up quickly, and a slow SSD makes swap inefficient. Yes, the 15-inch performs a bit better than the 13-inch model, but the difference is negligible. They both slow down in the same tasks and aren't really fit for serious workflow. Now let's take a quick pause and talk about this video sponsor, Botanium. Tell me, have you ever thought of becoming a grower? Growing plants. Get a plot of land and grow food. Well, with Botanium you can do that on a slightly smaller scale. Botanium is a home-sized growing pod that makes it super convenient to grow small veggies and herbs at home, straight from your window. Botanium is quite different from growing pods you're used to. It's hydroponic, which means it doesn't use soil. It's self-watering, freeing you from remembering the watering schedule, and it looks hella nice. Designed in Sweden, it's a signature piece piece of Scandinavian design that fits in any room. What I like is how autonomous it is. You just fill the pot with a growing medium, a lower half with water, plug it into the outlet, and let the machine do its thing. With Botanium, you can effortlessly grow any small plant, whether it's a small chili pepper, a cherry tomato, or mint. This way you can always have fresh herbs and small veggies without getting your hands dirty with soil, fertilizers, watering, and all that other hassle. Simple and straightforward growing experience, just what we all need. I will leave a link in the description for you to check it out. It's really nice to have something growing in your kitchen, so be sure to try it yourself. And now let's get back to the video. Next possible winner, the 14-inch MacBook Pro. This one is far more interesting than everything that I talked about before. Why? Because it's a mixed bag really. On one hand, it builds on a strong legacy created by the 2021 model and excels in certain areas, but on the other hand, it has a few flaws that for some buyers make it worse than the 2021 model. But let's not rush things. The 2023 MacBook Pros are great. The displays and body are the same as before, and if you're a tech-savvy person, you know what I'm talking about. Super Retina XDR, ProMotion, P3 color, 1000 nits of peak brightness with SDR content, and 1600 for HDR content. Sleek aluminum body, very industrial and ready for beating, but the greatness of the display is somewhat overshadowed by speakers that have gotten worse than before. The sound isn't as clear and booming, it's less pronounced and feels like a step back, but you won't be able to notice the difference unless you put two laptops side by side. Another thing that is the same is the port selection. 3 Type-C ports, 1 HDMI port, a card reader, a headphone jack, and a MagSafe charger. HDMI in 2023 Macs are actually better. They support higher resolution and frame rate, which will surely be appreciated by some. To me, this improvement means almost nothing, but still. Okay, now let's talk about what really makes this MacBook Pro. Its performance. The 2023 MacBook Pro 14-inch in its base config comes with the M2 Pro chip that has 10 CPU cores and 16 GPU cores. The size of unified memory is 16 gigs, and the SSD offers 512 gigs of storage. And believe me, this combo is hot. The M2 Pro chip is a real beast, even in its base version. No matter what you throw at it, it handles it all like a champ. Video editing is a piece of cake for this MacBook. Same goes for music creation, programming, 3D, and virtually anything. 16 gigs of unified memory may not be the biggest amount in the world, but it's enough for almost everything. SSD is fast enough for a swap to be effective, and you never encounter any lags or slowdowns. Yes, SSD in this one is slower than in 2021 models, but it's not such a big deal really. This Mac never thermal throttles thanks to active cooling, and the efficiency of the chip itself allows for a dead silent workflow. It really is a silent monster, friendly face and demonic power underneath. And how can we forget about its bigger sibling, the 16-inch MacBook Pro? This one is basically a larger version of the 14-inch, all the same benefits but in a bigger size. Great display that's noticeably bigger, same selection of ports and everything. It's bigger, heavier, but still the same familiar MacBook Pro that people love. The only technical difference is the chip. The 16-inch model starts with an unbent M2 Pro chip that has 12 CPU cores and 19 core GPU, which makes it a bit more powerful than the base 14-inch. In any task, it performs slightly better than the 14-inch model, and the bigger size allows for an even better cooling system. Also, the battery is bigger, which makes this MacBook a real battery life champ. Overall, there is not much that can be said about the 16-inch that hasn't been said about the 14-inch, since these two laptops are very similar. So let's not dwell on those minor changes and find out which MacBook is really worth buying. Since we're looking for the best value MacBook, we need something that gives us the most of everything for the lowest price possible. The 13-inch MacBook Air starts at $1,100 and is rather slow and hot. 15 inches is hot and slow, but at $1,300. The 16-inch MacBook Pro cost a whopping $2,500. But the 14-inch can be snatched at $2,000. And if you are fine with buying refurbished, even cheaper than that at $1,700. And for that price, it's a no-brainer really. Yes, the price jump from Airs is noticeable, but it makes a lot of sense if you take into account that you need to spend $400 on each MacBook Air model just to break free from slow SSD and small amount amount of memory. This gives only $200 difference from the 13-inch MacBook Air and $0 difference from the 15-inch model. And you don't need to be a fortune teller to predict which laptop will age better. My advice: if you're hellbent on buying the last gen MacBook, get the 14-inch MacBook Pro. Fast, reliable, and at the right price. The combo it gives is really hard to beat. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.